What's up, everybody? It's Danielle here, and today I'm going to be giving 10 tips to incoming freshmen for college. So, let's get to it. So for my first tip for college freshmen is to always research your roommates. I honestly feel like I was very lucky because my freshman year, I had the privilege and honor of having two of the best roommates. Honestly, one of them, 4 years later, we are still the best of friends. I honestly can say my freshman year, I had no problems with my roommates. And if we did have a problem, it was not a problem that was too big that we fought for days. We literally would sit down or text each other, talk it out, and it would be over. Our problems did not last. But that's more than I could say for other people that I lived on the same floor with, because honestly, there was just so much drama in other rooms, and other people that I knew just did not get along with their roommates freshman year. So when it comes time to picking your roommates, if you don't go to a college with people that you know, I am telling you now to reach out to your prospective roommates. If it's possible to meet them beforehand, do that. You will thank yourself later when you actually know that you have compatible personalities with the two people or more than two people that you are going to be living with. Because odds are freshman year, you're not going to have a single, you're going to be sharing the room with one or two more people. So wouldn't you rather live with somebody for a year that you know you're going to click with? I'm not saying you have to be the best of friends, but when I'm telling you that you want to avoid as much drama as possible your freshman year, you will thank me later. Move-in day should not be the first time you see your roommates. It should not be the first time you talk to your roommates. You guys should already be texting over the summer, if not sooner. I honestly started talking to one of my roommates over the summer. We already knew each other. We knew that we would get along. We weren't the best of friends, which is totally fine, but our personalities did match up, so it was not a problem. My other roommate, who turned to be my best friend, she was an accident. We weren't even supposed to be roommates, but I was lucky enough that our personalities matched up, obviously very well, and that's why we're still friends. But that situation could have been completely different. She could have been somebody that I hated, and we would not be friends, and I probably would have had a really, really bad experience my freshman year. So if you want to be able to avoid that, I'm telling you now to make sure you research and talk to your roommates before you start school in the fall. My second tip is to tour the school that you're going to and the surrounding areas. A lot of kids tour their school. They go to admitted students day, they go on open houses or whatever. But one of the mistakes that I made was not researching and not exploring the surrounding city that my school was in. There was so much that I missed out on freshman year because I did not know what surrounded my school. At my school freshman year, we are not allowed to have cars, so traveling wasn't the easiest. We had shuttles, we have Uber where I am, but because I didn't know what was out there, a part of me never felt the need to go downtown, go into the city, and really try to explore and maybe be more open to meeting different types of peoples. But if I would have explored that at my freshman year, I probably would have been way more open into going out and being more a part of the community that my school was part of instead of just being a part of my school community. And also, definitely make sure that you tour your school itself. I've met a lot of people at my school who told me, yeah, no, I just went online, I did the online virtual tour, I just looked at pictures, and it seemed like a pretty nice place, and then they get here, and either A, they fell in love with the place, or B, they did not like the setup at the school at all. So you don't want to be that person who ends up living somewhere where they don't feel comfortable. So if you go out and you tour your school once, twice, doesn't really matter how many times, but you take a look at where you're going to be living for the next 4 years, you're going to feel way more comfortable as to where you're going to be. Also, when it comes time to tour your school, you get a feel as to, okay, my classes can be in this building, so that when it comes time to moving in, you're not completely lost. You don't turn into that lost freshman your first year, because obviously that's embarrassing, having to either be late to your classes because you don't know where they are, or having to ask upperclassmen as to where to go when you could have avoided all of that just by touring and paying attention to where things were when you visited. My next tip is probably one of the best tips that I can give you that I wish I personally knew my first couple of years in college, and that is to use RateMyProfessor. RateMyProfessor is an online website where students posted their teachers and posted reviews of those teachers that you can then go on that website and look at the teacher that you may have for class and see how other students felt about that teacher. My freshman year was probably the worst year that I had when it came to professors. There were probably, I would say maybe 3-4 teachers out of the 8 classes that I had that I wish I did not take. And I say this because either my personality didn't match up with the professor, I didn't like their teaching style, or whatever it may be, it just was not a good class for me to take. My junior and my senior year, I've been using RateMyProfessor, and I have not had a single problem with any of my professors. I use RateMyProfessor, I look at all the teachers that offer the course, and I look at the teachers that have been rated the most. And I read more than just the first review of the teacher. I scroll down, I probably read at least 1 or 2 pages of the reviews, and then I make my decision based on that. And I looked back and I reviewed and I looked up other teachers that I had problems with, and on RateMyProfessor, they had very, very bad reviews. So if I would have had access and known about RateMyProfessor, I could have seen that before I took their classes and possibly avoided having such a bad time in that class, or learning more from the class because a teacher would have had a better teaching style for me. So honestly, if you take anything from this video, I'm telling you now, bookmark RateMyProfessor is going to come in handy, and is going to probably either save your grade or save your sanity, because you are going to actually like the professor that you have who's teaching the class. My next tip is probably a tip that's going to come in handy obviously before you come to college, and that is to ask for help when filling out your FAFSA. If you are a first generational college student like I am, you probably don't know anything about FAFSA, and your parents don't know anything about FAFSA. So instead of sitting at home or procrastinating because you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, if your high school has advisors, go to them, because that's their job. They are there to help you. They will help you figure out exactly what to do for FAFSA, and a 3-hour process will then turn into a 1-hour process. And luckily, the way that FAFSA is set up now, they made it even easier for people to use FAFSA, so it's an even faster process now than it was for me. So I'm telling you now, instead of struggling silently, just go ask for help. Like, you will thank yourself later just for going to ask for help. My next tip, I wish people told me this tip before I started college, and that is, do not buy any of your textbooks until after the first week or 2 of classes. I say this because I cannot tell you how many times I've bought a $100 textbook and the teacher says, you're not gonna need that, you're gonna learn everything, I'm gonna teach you everything. There's a cheaper version on Amazon, there's a cheaper version somewhere else, or there's even a free version. I go to class, and when I tell you I'm livid, I was livid. I wish I knew not to buy my books, because 9 out of 10 times, teachers put books on the syllabus because the university requires them to have a book for their class. So they put that book on there just so that they can pass requirements and not get in trouble with the school. But when you go to class, they will tell you, you do not need to buy this book. And then you're stuck there with a $100 book that you don't need, and you can't get your money back. Because even if you rented the book, you're still spending the money and you don't get it back. So I would say just wait. So for my next tip is to befriend the people that are in your major. At my university, I was very lucky because I lived in something that was called a living learning community. And that means that the people that I was living with and the people that were on my floor were all a part of my major. So when it came time to making friends, obviously you become friends with your roommates first and people that you live in the same building with. So everyone that I was surrounded with were already in my major. So it was very easy for me to find people in my major. And the reason why I say to befriend people in your major is because when it comes time to make study groups, to do homework, just to even have advice for teachers and classes, you will have already a group of people who are going through the same exact thing that you're going through, and you're gonna build a support system based off of that. And also, for me, I'm a legal studies double major. At my school, that's a very, very, very small major. So the group of people that I have in my classes are always the same people that I have in all of my classes. So I'm friends with pretty much everybody in the legal studies program. So when it comes time for help on homework or time to form study groups or whatever, I know everybody. We hit each other up. We form study groups. We ask questions on homework. We know each other. It just makes your life in college 10 times easier than it would be, say, if you were a English major friends with somebody in a music major. I'm not saying that's the worst thing to do, but you probably will not be able to help each other when it comes time to choosing classes, finding internships. Yes, you will learn things from each other, but it won't necessarily help you grow and become a better person in your major than if you were surrounded by people who were in your major. But I'm also not saying, like, obviously, like, don't go out and be friends with people in other majors, because obviously that's, like, not what I'm saying at all. Like, definitely do that, because that'll help you grow in a different aspect. But sometimes people aren't lucky to, be in a living, learning community like I am, and you end up living in a dorm or living in a building full of people who are from different backgrounds. So it's not as easy to make friends in your major. So I'm saying, like, if that is your situation, try to go out when you're in those classes and get phone numbers, start meeting with people, form a small group of people that you know that you can go to for help, because instead of struggling silently and always having to go to a teacher for help, you will then have 5 to 10 people who you can go to for homework help. My next tip is also a tip that will come in handy before you apply to college, but it also comes in handy while you're in college as well, but that is to apply to multiple scholarships. This is something that my father wanted me to do, and I kept procrastinating it, and the more I procrastinated it, the more I missed out on the deadlines. But by applying to multiple scholarships, you increase your chances of getting money and decrease the amount of debt that you have. Because obviously, if you apply to multiple scholarships and say they're only for $100, that's $100 that you don't have to pay back in 4 years when you graduate. So even though it may seem like a small amount of money, it definitely will help you in the long run. And this is a tip that I'm gonna take to law school, and that is like now and in the summer, I'm gonna be researching and applying to many different scholarships to help me pay for either my living expenses, my books, or just my tuition in general to the law school that I end up going to if, knock on wood, I don't get a full tuition scholarship. My next piece of advice is to study abroad. I did not get that opportunity. I wish that I did, but because I'm a double major, I didn't get that opportunity to study abroad, because since I declared my double major my sophomore year, I was kind of behind in my legal studies major, so if I would have studied abroad, it would have set me back even more. But if you have the opportunity to study abroad, and it fits into your schedule and it fits into your major, I say do it. There's just so much that you get from studying abroad that you don't get from staying home. By going across seas, you push yourself out of the comfort zone. College is the time to experience new things about yourself, experience new things about different cultures, and by studying abroad, you're pushing that to the max. So by studying abroad, you're learning things about yourself, learning things about other cultures, other communities that you can then bring back to when you come out to school to help yourself grow as a better person. I honestly hope that in law school, I have the opportunity to study abroad, because I'm going to obviously jump on that chance to do so, because I strongly believe that studying abroad, it brings a better purpose to your life and to who you are, and it helps you grow as a person, which I find very, very important. My next tip, which is tip number 9, is to declare a minor or get a certificate. Since I'm a double major, I didn't really have room to declare a minor, but I did have the chance to get my paralegal certificate. And what my paralegal certificate allows me to do is it allows me to go out and get a job as a paralegal instead of, getting unpaid internships or getting paid as a legal assistant. By getting paid as a paralegal, I'm obviously going to be making more money than somebody who's a legal assistant. And it's before I graduate with my 4-year degree. So by getting a certificate, I'm showing people and I'm building my resume that I'm more qualified for this job than, say, somebody who is a college graduate who doesn't have the certificate. So look into those different smaller programs in your school, because you never know. The classes that you're taking now could be classes that are already going towards your certificate. You may just need to take 1 or 2 extra extra classes that are outside of your thought realm that may help you finish it up and get a certificate your sophomore year, and then boom, you can start working in your career field. What better more is that? Like, and my other reason why I'm telling you to declare a minor or a double major or a certificate is you're paying to go to college. You're paying to go to college. If you got a full tuition, congrats to you. But if not, you are paying to go to college. Why not get the most out of your experience as possible? Build your resume as much as possible before you graduate. You're gonna set yourself apart from other people who went to college and just got one degree. You're setting yourself apart. That's what college is for. So don't go to college and do the bare minimum. Get the most for your money. I'm telling you now. I'm graduating college with 2 degrees and a certificate, and that's setting me apart from people who are already in my major who don't have the certificate and are only graduating with 1 degree. Like, set yourself apart as much as possible. Which leads me to my last and final tip, which is to participate in as many clubs and events at your school as possible. Once again, you are paying to go to college. Get the most out of your experience as you can. By joining clubs and going to events, you're just putting yourself out there more to meet new people, to experience new opportunities, like open more doors. You're also building your resume to show people, like, I went to school for 4 years and I was a part of this club for 4 years. So it shows people that not only were you handling your heavy course load, you're also handling the responsibilities of being part of a club. So if you can get an executive position in that club, also do that. It shows people that you are a leader, that you can do teamwork, you have critical thinking skills. So many things that even if you're applying to graduate school or work right after college, it just shows people that you possess another set of skills of just going to college, going to class, and passing those classes. Just get as much out of your college experience as you possibly can. You will thank yourself later, because once these 4 years are done and you're in the real world, you're not going to be able to go back. You're not going to be like, oh, I wish I could join that club. You probably will not have a chance to join that club again. So take the opportunity that you have in front of you and join that club. You will thank yourself later, because honestly, I look back to my high school experience and there were 2 years where I didn't participate in any sports, any clubs, and I just focused on school because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I regret that decision. I look back and I'm like, wow, I really should have kept playing that sport. I should have joined that club. And now that I'm in college, I'm making sure that I do not make that mistake again. I'm participating in as many clubs as I possibly can that fit into my schedule. And I'm going to as many school events as possible so that I look back and I look at my college experience as a full experience. And I do not regret anything that may have happened. Hopefully, after I giving you these 10 tips, you feel more prepared for college. And like I said, if you don't listen to any of these tips, that's your choice, but I hope that you take at least one of these tips that I gave you. I am a senior about to graduate, and I'm telling you that some of these tips I really wish I had before I started college. Like I said, I am a first generational college student, so my parents couldn't even give me any of these tips. So I've had to learn these all on my own. So if you are somebody out there who, had kids before you or your siblings before you go to college, your parents went to college and they have all these tips for you, that's great. But if you're somebody like me who you're experiencing this firsthand and you really don't know what to expect when you're going to college, I'm telling you, really, watch this video and soak in these tips, because you're gonna thank yourself later for, doing this research and just finding out as much as you can about college, because it is an experience that you're not going to forget, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it to the max, and hopefully with these tips, you can enjoy your experience even more. So thanks for watching, and if you stuck around this long, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you next time.